we're going to move on and kind of stay with that theme of folks who are trying to keep us spiritually uplifted during these times. And so I'm so happy to bring on with us now Reverend Thomas Bowen. Many of you all know him from Shiloh Baptist Church. And we have Reverend Tony Lee. Who doesn't know Reverend Tony Lee?
Hey, Denise.
Are you growing your dreads back or what? No, that
It looks like
it might be after we get out the house, right? And Reverend Wanda Thompson, welcome, welcome. I want to thank you all for being with us today. And I know one of the hardest decisions pastors had to make a couple of weeks ago was, do we open up the doors to our congregations, and if not, how will we deliver a message that's going to keep them through this period? So I want to start with you, Reverend Thompson. I know that you have, you're over the Ward 8 Faith organization. You represent a group of ministers. Tell me what that process was like for you. Can you hear me, Reverend Thompson? Reverend Lee, how about you?
And actually that process wasn't super challenging. Okay, now I think I messed up here. Here we go.
There you are. That's your good side. Yeah.
And I do think that it was a process of just seeing what needed to happen to take care of our people, and making sure folks were safe. So it wasn't a super hard process, just because it was, this makes sense. This is what we need to do to keep folks safe. This is what we need to do to kind of, bend this curve, etc. The other thing was that our folks were already watching us streaming on Sundays. And so for us, we just decided to kind of shift gears a bit. And we go into a video studio now on Sundays, and we kind of shifted our format to one that's not just kind of regular worship service, but almost we call it inspiration and information. And so you may have interviews. So we interviewed Councilmember Trayon White on it. We interviewed Councilmember Rodney Streeter on it, all as a part of our regular worship service, because truthfully, our worship services just in general are information and inspiration. And so we just did that in a different kind of way for the format.
Right. And I didn't mention the church, which is the Community of Hope AME Church, right out in, what is it, at the shopping center in Marlow Heights?
Well, at Hillcrest Heights.
Hillcrest Heights, right.
We're at the Skate Palace out in Hillcrest Heights.
Exactly. Oh, you're at the Skate Palace now?
Yeah, we moved. We moved in a year.
Okay, all right. Hey, guess I'm telling on myself. Have to come and visit soon. I will. Reverend Bowen, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Now we heard that you've been doing a inspirational message at 7:00 every morning.
Yeah, 7:00 every morning. Pre-COVID, at Shiloh, we would have a Monday morning prayer call about 7 a.m. The last 15 minutes, one of my members and friends, Keisha Bird, came with the idea and thought that'd be a good way to begin the week. So we implemented that about 4 to 5 years ago. Now, of course, when COVID hit, two things came to the fore. One, there was a need to pray every day. And two, we knew that many of the folk who called in, some seniors, they needed that as a sort of connection. So for the last month, we've been hosting this dial-in morning prayer every morning at 7 a.m.
And, I know Reverend Lee, you said you have sometimes people on the show, on your worship service with you, but have you heard from members of your congregation? Are they talking about some of the concerns that they're having, not only with their health, because I also want to talk about, the really horrific part of this, which are the deaths, but we're talking about living during this period. Have they talked to you about that and what some of their needs are?
Well, we've been dealing with folks a lot around whether it's the mental health issues, whether it's domestic violence issues. We've been really focusing heavily on the food insecurity stuff.
Mhm.
And so we've been, so even this Sunday, we have a grocery giveaway. We have 500 boxes of groceries that we're giving away at 10 o'clock at Iverson Mall's parking lot. Anyone can come. You don't have to sign anything or say anything. You just, when you drive up, we put them in the trunk of your car for social distancing so everybody stays safe. We've also been blessed to be in partnership with the Prince George's County government, the World Central Kitchen with Jose Andres, and on Tuesdays at 1:30, we also give away 1,000 hot meals. Um,
Wow.
and so but that's been very important because we've been watching. The other piece is we donated to the county 5,000 surgical masks to get to those who are and who are really vulnerable, as well as 5,300 rolls of toilet paper and surgical and gloves, etc., and sanitizer. Just because for us, it's not just about us taking care of people's spiritual needs, but this is a time for the church to really step up and help people in their physical needs as well, physical, emotional, and mental needs, mental health.
Yes. Yes. And Reverend Bowen, how about, I know Shiloh's right in the heart of the community, in the Shaw community, and people can't really get there. But have you all been able to, or what's been the response to some of the concerns that folks have called in about, if you've gotten any?
Yeah, one thing we're starting to see that a lot of things that we took for granted in the church are things that are of great importance right now. The whole idea of having a sick and shut-in list, and now
Mhm.
seemingly that shut-in list includes everyone in our congregation. And there's a need to connect with our membership. Before, we left it up to our deacons and our deaconesses and a few faithful folk. But this is all our responsibility to check up on one another. A scripture that we have to come, the scripture, I believe, for the nation, if not the world, is we'll get through this together. So we've taken our fellowship outside the walls, as we should have done all along, which my good friend Reverend Lee has been doing for some years now, and to make sure that we reach out to folk, we check on them, and in doing that, yes, we hear and we find out what's on their mind, what are their hearts, and what their needs are. Now, Shiloh has often been called a silk stocking church. And as such, some folk, believe it or not, just feel uncomfortable asking for help. I'm
Mm.
sharing the things that perhaps are not ones that will they will be able to shine in a bright light. So we have to encourage people that when you need help, please ask. There's no other way for us to get to you. So we encourage our people and try to make it comfortable for them to share their concerns, what they're going through, and obviously their needs. And pleasantly surprised at the ability and the willingness of parishioners to do so.
Right in the midst of this COVID pandemic,